laws, or cultural traditions. So in Taiwan, the Chinese culture that's gone on for thousands of years is based off of Confucian ideas. You know, Confucian, right? So with Confucian ideas, it's about filial piety, which means like you respect your parents or you respect those who are senior to you, right? Okay? So with that, if you have, say, a child that's a rogue child, that means when the parents ask them to do something, the child's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they do it. You're going to become a doctor one day. No, I'm going to be an artist. I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I want to do. That's a rogue child, in a sense. Because they're not following a cultural tradition, or they're not following a law, they're not following a rule. Okay? So a rogue simply is just someone. So in Star Wars, who's seen Star Wars?
Star Wars. Yeah.
Right? So the first three, right? A New Hope, when like Luke Skywalker is blowing up the Death Star, they're like, this is Rogue One, right? They're the rebels, right? So their squadron is called the Rogue Squadron, and it means that they're the rebels. They're against the Empire. They're not following the laws of the Galactic Empire. They're fighting against it, and their squadron calls themselves Rogue. So Rogue One, Rogue Two, Rogue Three. So they're not following the rules. They're not following the laws. Okay? So that's somewhere where you can hear rogue used. Okay?
So if I say someone is a rogue, that means it's rude for that person?
It doesn't necessarily mean it's rude. It just means they're not doing what everyone else is doing. So I could have a bunch of pens sitting on the table, and one rolls off the table and goes away. Oh, there's a rogue pen. So it's not doing what everyone else is doing. So it doesn't have to be a rule, it doesn't have to be a law. And I put cultural tradition, but it's just not following the group. Right? What most people do. Most people go to college, get a job, get married, have kids. I didn't go to college, I didn't get a job, I'm not going to have kids, then I'm being rogue. Okay? Does that make sense?
So that means someone isn't in mainstream.
Yeah, in a way. They're being a rebel. Have you heard rebel? To rebel. So a rebel is someone that is going against the mainstream culture. So in the 1960s in the US, they had the hippies, long hair, didn't really wash, kind of stinky, listen to music, right? Okay? They were rogues. They were rebels. Okay? So rebel is another. But the difference between rogue and rebel is someone who specifically goes against what everyone is doing. They fight against the main culture. So like if the teacher was like, sit down, and you're like, no! You're being a rebel, because you're fighting it. Okay? But if you have a group of kids and one kid just starts to kind of wander away from the group, that's a rogue child. It's not necessarily a negative thing to be rogue. It just means that it's not doing what everything else is doing. Okay?
The pronounce rebel or rebel.
So, that's a good point. Rebel is the noun. Rebel. Okay? Rebel is the verb.
Rebel, no.
Okay? Now, I think rebel,
Bell.
that's spelled differently. Hey Siri. Rebel. No, not spell. Rebel.
Rebel.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's the same spelling. Yeah. I said I don't understand. So it's the same spelling. So then to rebel is the verb. Rebel, noun. Rebel, verb. Rebellion, noun. If there is a say rebellion, it's the noun of it, that thing happening. Okay? So people rebel, rebels rebel during rebellion. Rebels, the people, rebel, fight against during a rebellion. The act of actually, right? It's not a verb, but it's the event that happens. Okay? Rebels rebel during a rebellion.
Can I
Okay.
say you are wrong?
Rogue.
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 So it's like an O. Rogue.
Rogue.
You are wrong today.
Are a rogue today? No, I don't think I'm rogue.
You are wrong.
Because I'm actually like dressed nicely and I shave. So I'm doing what I should be doing.
Looking handsome.
Hey Daniel.
Good looking.
That's every day. Alright. Let me finish making sure I have everyone here on attendance. Nicole. Peyton came in. Daniel came in. Alright. Okay. So I'm not a rogue today.
What happened to you?
What happened to me? I have to be parents. Gotta look nice. I hate ties. I was wearing a tie all day. It felt like someone was choking me. So, alright, other words, other phrases.
That makes you a right side better.
Say it again.
That makes you a right side.
Makes you a right side sight. A right sight better. Where did you hear that? A right sight. Did you see the caption?
Yes.
And that's what it said, a right sight better. Was it a British movie?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell because of the way it sounds. But a right sight better. My guess is it means, was it about the way they looked? Did something happen? Like maybe they were sick before and then they were better, or they were like messy and then like some magic was done and then they looked better? Yeah, because sight, it's talking about you looked, right? A right sight better. So right would be,
Looks better.
she said like me. There's no magic today. This is just me, okay? Now, so a right sight, so right would be correct, okay? So you're a right sight, so it means you look correct, right? A right sight better means you look better than you did.
Okay.
So that would be my translation of that, based on just that and not seeing the scene. But I imagine that's what it's talking about. Maybe they did some magic spell and they look different. It's like, oh, you look a right sight better. But it's very British sounding. And they have phrases like that in British English that to me I'm just like, just sounds strange. I can guess what it means, but sometimes with British and English, Irish English. So I had a lot of Irish friends in Okinawa. When I would just talk to them one-on-one, I could understand everything they said. When they got around each other, I didn't. So, oh, that's Craig, going out and, go out to the lift and blah, 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 blah. And just that they have so many different words that I was just like, what are you talking about? So, even though it's still English, it's very different. Even Scottish is worse. Like, most people who aren't from Scotland, if you meet people that are like really Scottish, you can't understand them because it's so different of a language. It's more of a dialect, kind of like how there's Mandarin and like Cantonese or Thai. It's so different that like there's some things that are maybe the same, but most of it is very different. So, all right, other phrases, other words.
I have a question. What's another word for bridges. So, for playing a game,
Mm.
so after the game, if I won a game, I was
Mhm.
clean or clear. So it's like
What do you mean?
finish the game. It's like, for
To
example,
clean up the game?
yeah, because I'm not sure, like clean or clear.
So is a board game? And you mean for them to put it away?
No, that means I won. So I clean all the like cards.
Mm. What game is it?
Is Israel Mahjong.
Mm.
When the cards, then I will be the clean the not clean.
Shuffle. Shuffle the deck.
So I will hold.
So, I mean, it's different from game to game. So some games you would say clear the board, right? If there are pieces and you clear it off, and then you start the game again. With the cards, it would just be like, I don't know. I would guess it wouldn't be clear necessarily. Like when you gather up the cards. But yeah, and then shuffle the cards. It's like, oh, pass me the cards so I can shuffle them again. If it's a card game. If it's a board game, it might be different. If it's like, yeah, it depends game to game. Really what it is. But if you want the tabletop clear, you can say clear the table.
Clear the table.
That could also be like, say you eat dinner and you're done with dinner. Oh, could you clear the table for me? You could ask someone to clear all of the dishes off, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I would need to see the game in action to choose a verb that would work well. Because to think of it off the top of my head, it's different from game to game.
应该说推倒它，重新再来。
But if like you were playing like roulette, do you know roulette? It's a thing with the marble that you spin and then it like goes around gambling and it's like, oh, place your bets. You put it on a number, black or red or whatever. And then it's like, okay, clear your bets, and they clear all the bets off, right? So it's different for each one. Yeah. So I think I would need to be more familiar with the game in order to figure out what it would be.
麻将
Huh?
Chinese 麻将
Yeah, mahjong. Mhm.
So we mean
It's like dominoes.
Yeah, so it's like you need to like
Yeah,
use all.
I've seen Crazy Rich Asians. I've seen them play the game. You know, right? That game.
It's like big two, so you need to give all the cards out.
Mm.
So it's, I don't know, it's like I clean or I clear.
I don't know.
Clean the game.
I don't know. Yeah, I could look it up and figure it out and let you know next week for mahjong. What they call it in English. So. All right, more words, more phrases.
The difference between student and the pupil.
Nothing. Same.
Same.
Pupil is just a fancier word for student. That's all.
Can I say the pupil of TS and or the student of TS?
Yeah. But pupil is more in relation to a teacher. So you could say a student of TAS, and then you could say, oh, it's Mr. King's pupil.
Oh,
So they're both the same exact meaning, but I would say that I don't typically think of a school as having pupils. I think of a school as having students, and I think of a teacher as having pupils.
I am the Mr. King's pupil.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be better. Pupil. Pupil. Same spelling as like the black part of your eye. That's a pupil.
Pupil.
compared to the students.
So the difference would be like I would never say like, oh, they are a pupil of TAS, because that's like showing TAS as the ownership, right? So I would say they're a student of TAS, but then I could say they are a pupil of Mr. King's.
Pupil.
So it's the exact same meaning, but for me, I've never used pupil for a school. Like, I wouldn't say they are a pupil at blah 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 school. I would say they are a pupil of some teacher and the teacher's name. Okay? So that's the difference. It's still the same meaning. They're both students. But yeah. And I'm sure you could use it that way, but I've never used it that way. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. It just, to me, it sounds a little strange to say that you're a school's pupil or a pupil at a school. I don't know. But still, same meaning. Okay. Any others? Danny, you being shy today? No others? No others? How many of you used any of the idioms that you learned last week?
Zero.
Get off your phone.
I'm looking for some.
Do I need to tell Mr. Pettigrew you've been on your phone the whole time during class? No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. Maybe sarcastic. Amy, you have other? Melody?
Yeah, I have another.
Okay.
Idiom. I am big on something.
Big on something?
Yeah.
Okay. So big on, it means like you really like something. So I'm big on cats. It's like, oh, I really like cats. Okay? Oh, she's big on, I don't know, motorcycles. So just like the big would be like the amount that you like something, and on is for that subject. So big on whatever.
Really like.
Okay? Huh?
Can I add food, vegetables, or carrots, or?
What do you mean, big on carrots or something, or? Yeah, I mean, it's, sure. Like, you can use it really for anything, but like, yeah, banana does work. It is a fruit. Okay? So, so yeah, like, you could, definitely. It just means that you really like something. Yeah. So,
That's not what I mean.
Enjoy.
let's stay class appropriate.
I say the kind of adjective like big banana describe the size of it. Some famous people always say big banana.
Oh, yeah, like, or the big cheese.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
do it like this.
Big cheese would be like someone who's like the boss, right? Yeah, he's the big cheese around here. He's like the most important person. So, yeah, big banana. You could say that, but people would be like, they would understand what you're talking about. Ah, he's a big banana around here. They'd be like, okay, I get what you mean, but yeah.
Not proper to use this.
No, it's not that it's not proper. It's just it sounds kind of funny.
So just need to be funny or
No, it's just strange because you're used to like big cheese or the
Big
the
potato.
I don't know. Well, big bosses. That's double. It's like redundant. You know, redundant.
Redundant.
Not necessary, right? Big boss. It's like yes, you know.
Just emphasize.
Sure, sure. Any others? Did you have a question, Melanie?
There's a new word today.
Gruesome? That's a good one. Gruesome. Have you ever heard that? The car accident was a gruesome scene. There was blood everywhere. It means that it's horrible to look at. Right? That movie was gruesome. I closed my eyes during the whole time. Okay? So it's very, very terrible. Like, a lot of the times it's related to seeing blood, seeing some sort of injury, right? Like if someone breaks their leg and a bone is sticking through, you're like, oh, yeah, see your face, right? I know, I'm trying to describe gruesome. It's not like I'm like, you know? It's just gross. It's something that is disgusting to look at. And oftentimes, dealing with death, injury, or I just changed my baby's diaper. Man, that was gruesome, right? So like, bodily functions. By bodily functions, functions of your body. Stuff like that, okay?
So, because I heard about today's lesson and we're just talking about the exploration, the age of exploration. So if my teacher said that is a gruesome discovery, which, so I'm just wondering that, does that mean that this kind of discovery is gruesome, which may.
It would be like, so maybe they made a discovery that like, maybe it's talking about like South America, the Incas or the Aztecs. They killed people, right? Is that what it was about?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, and then like maybe then they bury the bones all in one place, and then like nowadays archaeologists are digging up and they find thousands of bones, and it's like, oh, it's a gruesome discovery. So it's dealing with death, right? Okay. Or during World War II, at first, you know, the U.S., the Allies, we didn't know that the Nazis had people in concentration camps and were killing them. We only found out towards the end of the war that was happening. So that was a gruesome discovery, right? So it's dealing with death or severe injury or bodily function, okay? Okay. So it's just another thing would be like really, really, really gross. Oh, that food that you made was gruesome, right? So you can use it in that manner to describe something as really disgusting, really gross. Okay? Any last ones? No? Dayton, you don't have any? No more banana comments? Alright. Alright, so let's see.
Different categories.
Alright, so where we left off, I'm going to review some of the idioms from the body parts, because I kind of ran through that really quick at the end of last class. But once again, the different categories. You have body parts, animals, nature, food, money, sport, colors. Okay? So, you remember two-face, right? Some of you have probably heard that before, where you may act one way towards someone when they're around, and then when they're not around, you act a different way about that person, right? Sometimes we could be two-faced to our, I don't know, bosses. Oh, I'll do that. Oh, no problem. Okay, thank you, and they leave you. Right? Okay? That's being two-faced, okay? To take the words, so someone who is deceitful. Deceitful means not telling the truth, okay? Deceitful, not telling the truth. Okay?
Deceitful.
Insincere, do you know sincerely? And you say to be sincere means that you are being truthful. So to be insincere, you're not. So maybe like you do something to someone, you're like, I'm sorry, but you don't really care, you don't mean it. You just say sorry just to fix the situation, just, you know, right? Okay? So that's being insincere. Alright? Take the words out of someone's mouth. So you took the words out of my mouth. What do you think that was? Do you remember? So like, say that I'm saying a sentence and you know what I'm going to say, so you finish my sentence for me. You took the words out of my mouth, right? Or I was about to say something, right? It's like, who knows the answer to this? And then one person's almost like, oh, what is it? And someone else says it, and you're like, you took the words out of my mouth, right? So they either finish a sentence for you, or they say something that you were thinking, but you didn't say. Okay? So, all ears, there's your ears, right? All ears, right? So it means you're listening, okay? Pain in the neck, that's just like pain in the ass. It's what we call a euphemism. Do you remember euphemism? So a euphemism is like, instead of saying you're fired, you say, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. So let you go is a euphemism for fired. So it's a nicer way of saying something, so that like you're hoping that it doesn't make them upset. Yeah, it softens the language, right? So your pain in the neck is a nicer way of saying you're a pain in the ass, right? So, to get cold feet, right? Not talking about when you're falling asleep and your feet are out under the covers, and you just, ooh, it's cold. Okay? So to get cold feet would be like, if you were about to do something, who here has ever like jumped off of a cliff into like a lake or water? You ever done that? Have you ever jumped off of a diving board, like a high diving board, into a pool? Same thing. So you walk up to the edge and it's really far down, and they're like, come on, do it! And you're like, okay. 1, 2, no. That's getting cold feet. You're not doing something, right? Say you're about to get married, right? And the day of your wedding, and you're just like,
I don't know if should I do this? It's the same person for the rest of my life. I don't know.
no, I'm not gonna do it. No, okay, no, I have to. No, I don't know. You're getting cold feet. You don't want to do it, okay? So, you hesitate. That's 1, 2, no. That's hesitate, right? You're almost going to do it, but you stop yourself, okay? So, to get cold feet, all right? Foot the bill. I'm gonna foot the bill. Means I'll pay for it. Don't worry, TAS will foot the bill for your new ARC. Thanks, TAS. Right? They'll pay for it. Okay? So, I think maybe I'm the only one with the ARC in here though. Right? That's probably. So. Alright. Keep someone on their toes. Right? So, if you're keeping someone on your toes, when is someone on their toes? When are they on their toes? Not reaching for stuff. Okay, that's not on a high shelf, no. Not sneaking around. When else are they on their toes? When you're running, right? So if you're running, you're doing something, right? So to keep someone on your toes means you keep them doing something, right? Keep them ready to do something, okay? So if you want to keep someone on their toes, you want to, I told him to go get something for me. I'm trying to keep him on his toes, you know? So maybe you're giving them small tasks to do something, so they're always ready to do something, okay? I stay on my toes, so I'm ready for anything, right? Security, you have to be on your toes, because if you're just, and then all of a sudden like 5 people go through the gate, you're not prepared, right? So to be on your toes, you're ready. You're ready to do what you need to do, okay? On the tip of your tongue. So last night I went and saw, I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's that one TV show. It has like the woman with blonde hair. She's got like the dragons. I was watching that. God, what is that show? It's on the tip of my tongue. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Okay? You know it, but you can't think of it at that moment. Oh, I went to that one restaurant when I was there, and it's that restaurant with like the fancy thing when you walk in, and why can't I think of it? It's on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Right? You know it, but you can't think of it. Right? Oh, I met that one friend last night. It was the girl from high school. Why am I not remembering her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. You'll either hear on the tip of my tongue or on the tip of my brain. Those are the two statements. So you almost remember it, but you can't say it. Okay? Have your hands full. Okay? Today you had your hands full, right? At work, you had your hands full. So many things going on at once, right? You had parent-teacher conferences. You had the meeting for college.
All the same
All
time.
at the same time, right? So your hands were full. Now, you weren't carrying a bunch of things, but you were trying to do a bunch of things at once, so your hands are full. Can you come back in like 20 minutes? My hands are full right now. I need to get this stuff done, and I can help you in 20 minutes. Please come back later, right? It means you're really busy, right? Keep your fingers crossed. It's like hope, right? Wish, right? Sometimes this can also mean like if someone does that behind their back, means they, lying.
Lying.
They're lying.
Lying.
But more often when you're like, it's like hope, wish, okay? Keep your fingers crossed, okay? But 1, 2, 1, all of them, whatever.
Hey, how you did it?
Oh.
How you, how you did it? Hey? Oh.
You go out and that. I always do that to the kids, and they're like, "Oh, what? How'd you do that?" So, yeah. All right. So, keep your fingers crossed. You all know that one. Next one. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's a very popular one. I'm sure you've all heard that, right? Okay. As the crow flies. Do you know what that means? As the crow flies. So, for me to drive to Wenhua Dashui, it's about 4 kilometers. Even though as the crow flies, it's maybe only about 2. So I have to drive over to the road that starts over there, go up the mountain that then winds its way back, and that's how you drive there, right? From here. But if as the crow flies, it's not that far. So if I drive that way, it's 4 kilometers. But if as the crow flies, it's only about 2 kilometers. So that means straight direction without having to walk on the road or drive on the road a specific way. Yeah, well, it's not that it's a shortcut. Even if it was through a building you couldn't walk through or a wall that you couldn't walk through, it's just as close a distance as it is. Oh, it's only about 2 kilometers away. But if you drive, you have to drive 4 kilometers, right? Because you could drive up the Tianmu steps, but you can do the whole way up the Tianmu steps, right? Okay? But as the crow flies, if a crow were to fly, it's the shortest distance, right? Right? And it's a straight line. Straight. Okay? Let the cat out of the bag. Telling a secret, you shouldn't. Now she knows that she has a surprise birthday party. Who let the cat out of the bag? Right? It's to let a secret out. Okay? So, work like a dog. Now this one I've never understood because my dog is lazy as hell. He just lies around. You go out and play, and he plays. So a dog doesn't really work hard. But to work like a dog just means that you work really, really hard. But I think this is in reference to dog being a derogatory term for someone who's low class. Do you know what I mean? Because you're basically calling them an animal. So to work like a dog, people who are low class have very hard jobs a lot of the time, right? Physical labor, like digging a hole or whatever it is that they do. So to work like a dog, I think that's what it comes from. It doesn't come from the animal dog. Okay? Something sounds fishy or smells fishy. So, if you have fish and it smells fishy, would you eat that fish? No.
No.
So it means there's something wrong with that fish, right? So if something smells fishy or it sounds fishy, there's something wrong, right? It's just like, oh, it's the weekend, all the hotels are booked, but we have one last room available for 2,000 NT. You just need to give me your ATM information and then, your password, and then I'll be able to pay for it for you, and it'll be fine. I'm not giving you my ATM information. That sounds fishy, right? Okay, sounds strange. Sounds like there's something wrong, not right. Okay, sounds fishy, smells fishy. Both are okay, and it doesn't have to be smell to say that it smells fishy. Be like, that smells fishy. Okay. Guinea pig. Guinea pig. Do you know what a guinea pig is? It's a little.
White mouse.
It's not a mouse, but it's a rodent of some type, and it's from Guinea. Guinea's in South America, right? So they call it a guinea pig, and it's a pet, right? And for many companies in the early 1900s in the U.S., they would test things on guinea pigs. They would test makeup, they would test shampoo, put the shampoo in the eye, does it burn, right? Okay? So they use the guinea pigs to test these things, right? So if you're a guinea pig, you're being tested. You're being the one that's, okay, we're getting some new projectors and new smart boards. You're going to be a guinea pig in a month. You need to tell us how did it work. So you're the one that it's being tested on, right? They're testing something on you, okay? So sometimes in Taiwan, Doritos,
Dorito.
we're guinea pigs for new flavors of, right? 7-Eleven will have new flavors and they'll be guinea pigs, right? You'll be a guinea pig and be like, oh, let's try this. And then you try it and you're like, don't buy that, that's gross. And then your friends don't, right? Okay? So it's just to try something new on, okay? Pigs might fly, or when pigs fly. There's two statements of that. Pigs might fly, or when pigs fly. Okay? So that means that something's impossible. It won't happen, right? What, you think you're going to be a millionaire? When pigs fly. Do pigs fly? No. Okay, so if there was a day that a pig ever flew, then it would happen. Okay? A snake in the grass. You familiar with that one? Snake in the grass. In stories for children, fables is what we call them, you learn lessons from those stories, right? So they teach you a lesson. Is a snake trustworthy? No. Oftentimes they're portrayed as someone with bad intention, not a good being, right? So, the snake in the grass, if they're a snake in the grass, is it a person that's trustworthy? No. So it's someone you can't trust. Okay? They're hiding their true intention. Okay? They're telling you one thing, they're being
Two-faced.
there you go, two-faced. Alright? A snake in the grass. Alright?
Snake in the grass.
Alright, now nature. Nature. If you're in the dark, can you see things when you're in the dark? If it's a dark room? No. So do you understand the room if you're in a dark room? Well, maybe if you've been living in that room for 10 years and you can walk through, and you still hurt your leg. Right? But it's saying that you don't understand something, that someone is keeping something from you. Okay? I didn't know what was happening. I was kept in the dark. Okay? So then the other people hid something from you. I didn't know my surprise birthday party was tonight. You guys kept me in the dark. That was really good. So something's kept from you. Okay? Save for a rainy day. To save for a rainy day. So this normally talks about keeping money. Okay, saving up for you're not saving for anything in particular. It's not like I want that new 70-inch TV that has all these awesome features, so I'm gonna save for that. No, you're just saving. So then in case 1 month maybe something happens and you need money for whatever it is, you have it. You've saved for a rainy day. So you're not saving for anything in particular. You're just saving for in case something happens. Okay? A lot of times nowadays, instead of saving for something like that, insurance is used for a rainy day. So a rainy day is not a good day, right? So if you're saving for a rainy day, you're keeping money for a bad day, right? In case something happens. Alright, once in a blue moon, we talked about that.
So for, say for the rainy day, is only can be used for talking about money?
Well, so you can talk about money, or for example, do you know what Twinkies are? Twinkies? They were a snack in America that was like a cake that had cream filling, and then the company closed. And so some people were saving as many Twinkies as they could because they really liked the snack. So they were saving the Twinkies for a rainy day, and then the company closed down. Well, then 2 years later it opened back up and everyone's fine, you know, but whatever. But so you can use it for saving an item, right? So in case like that item disappears, you can save it for a rainy day. It can be anything. But most of the time it's used for money. But for example, like my father, he doesn't like to throw out the boxes for anything. It's ridiculous, just so much crap in our house. But he's just like, well, you never know. Like maybe the thing breaks, you need to send it back to the store, or maybe you move and you need boxes. Now you don't have to buy boxes. You're saving it for a rainy day. Right? Once in a blue moon, we talked about that before. Chasing rainbows. Can you catch a rainbow?
No.
No, right? Okay? So you're chasing after something you're never going to get.
It's true.
It's a dream that's an impossible, right? So it's like, oh, one day I'm gonna marry Marilyn Monroe. Well, she's dead. So that'll never happen, right? So if I continue to chase that dream, I'm chasing rainbows. Okay? So, under the weather. We also heard that one before, right? Under the weather, not feeling good. Okay, food. Spill the beans. Spill the beans. That's just like letting the cat out of the bag, okay? To let out a secret. The icing on the cake. So, is cake good? Cake isn't good?
Yes.
Okay, cake is delicious. Cake with icing, is that better than cake? Okay, if you liked sweet things, would icing on the cake make the cake taste better?
Yes.
In theory, okay? I'm not, this is just in theory, not personal opinion. Okay? So the icing on a cake, something that was good, because cake is good, and you put something else good on top of the cake, makes it better. Right? So you'd be like, oh,
I see.
we got the new sale. The company made a lot of money. And the icing on the cake is they bought an extra 30,000 pieces of whatever, right? So it's the thing that made it extra better. That's terrible English. Okay? It just made it better. Okay? So it's the extra bit on top of something that's good. Okay? Food for thought. You ever heard that? Food for thought. So, when we eat food, it's good for our body. When we learn something new that's like really good for you to know, that's food for your mind. So if there's information that's good to know, and you tell someone, it's like, oh, that's food for thought. So it's like saying information is food for our mind. Food is good, it's energy for our body, right? So it's just something that makes you think very hard about it and makes you, oh, okay, that's food for thought. So it's something that makes you think about something in a new way, maybe, or you think hard about it. Okay? Easy as pie, or piece of cake. Right? Same thing. Easy as pie, piece of cake. Both are the same meaning. Okay? Easy as pie. cost an arm and a leg? You heard that one? If you have to pay with an arm and a leg, is it worth it? No, right? It's too expensive. Right? Go Dutch with someone. Right? Go on a date, go Dutch. Right? Yeah, paying separate, right? Go Dutch. So there's a YouTube channel. It's called Mama Hulu. Have you ever seen it? So it's in China and it's foreigners, expats make this channel, and they talk about like the differences between foreigners and Chinese. And so it's like going on a date with a foreigner. And he's like, oh, we'll go Dutch. And it's like, and then going on a date with a local Chinese guy, and he's just like, no, I'll pay. Right? So you go Dutch, you split. Yes.
Excuse me. What if we don't say go Dutch? Is there some common way we can use to say
Pay separate.
separate?
Pay separate.
Yeah, just separate checks.
Okay.
But separate checks, so Go Dutch is different. Go Dutch is different than separate checks. Separate checks means I'm going to pay for what I ate and what I drank. Go Dutch is whatever the bill is, divide it in half. That's going Dutch. So it's just split it 50-50. Doesn't matter if you got the more expensive thing, I'll still pay half. Right? So that's the difference. So feel the pinch. Feel the pinch. So when I was strictly a substitute teacher, some months I would feel the pinch because
Every month.
I maybe made 20,000 NT and my rent was 23,000 NT. So I would feel the pinch. Okay? So it means that money is like, you have money problems. You feel the pinch. Money's tight. Okay? Money to burn. You have too much money, you don't know what to do with it. So you have money to burn. You can just light it on fire. It doesn't matter. Right? Okay? Money talks. Right? Okay? Nest egg. Do you know nest egg? That's your savings. I have a nest egg. I've been saving for 30 years so I can retire and live on a boat and travel the world. Right? Okay? That's your nest egg. I don't have a nest egg. Too young. I'm 37. I should have a nest egg started. It did be a small nest egg, but I should at least have one started. One day. But my problem is school debt. Student loans. Alright, sports. Have a ball, so that's to have a good time. The ball is in your court. It's your turn to do something. Right? Okay? Play the game. So that means to like do what you need to do to get something done. You might not like it, but you have to play the game. Right? Sail through something to do something very quickly. Okay? Skating on thin ice. You need to be careful. Okay? So you're doing something that's like maybe could get you in trouble. Okay? Take someone for a ride. So if you're taking someone for a ride, you're cheating someone. Right? You're taking me for a ride. You're stealing money from me. Okay? Take someone for a ride. Alright, last one, colors. Blue-eyed boy. Okay, you're their blue-eyed boy. Now in Asia that might not work as well. But it just means like, oh, you're their favorite. Okay? Golden opportunity means something that's really favorable. It's really good for you. You should take the opportunity because it's like the perfect opportunity for you. Silver spoon. If you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, it means your parents were rich. So you were given everything. Yeah, you don't need to work, but I don't know. My best friend, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but his father was a good man and said, if you want to drive the family car, you get a job 20 hours a week in high school. Like, you have to work. So, it's good dad. Right? So, green with envy. So if you're green with envy, you're jealous. You're jealous of something. To have a gray existence is to be bored, boring life. Gray existence. Go to work, go home, eat dinner, to sleep, wake up, go to work, go home, eat dinner, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, go home, go eat dinner, go to sleep. That's great, dull, okay? To be in the red, okay? So you can either be, so in business, do you have, in Chinese, is there being in the black and being in the red? When you talk about money made? So like in the US, we have Black Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. And have you seen videos of people rushing into the stores and like fighting over stuff? Businesses sell a lot of Christmas presents on that day. And what they say is by that point in the year, they've been in the red where they're not making profit. By that day, it's Black Friday because they go into the black. It's now black ink where it's positive. They've made a profit. So being in the red, you haven't made enough money. So say that you invest $4,000 into something. You're like, pay a factory to make something. Oh, here's $4,000. Well, now I'm down $4,000. And if I sell everything, I'll make $10,000. But if I only sell $2,000 worth of stuff, I'm in the red. Because in bookkeeping, red numbers mean that it's negative. Right? Black numbers means you're finally positive. Okay? So if you're in the red, you haven't made money. And then to see red, very angry. You get red in the face, fire shooting out your ears, smoke's coming out of your nose, right? See red. Okay? Alright. So, those are the last ones. I was gonna give a little quiz, but that's okay. So, today was very sort of easy. Just a bunch of idioms. These are really common ones. Any questions before I let you go?
Interesting.
No questions? Okay, I'm gonna give you some homework.
Homework.
I've been so nice to you this year. I've been so nice and haven't given very much homework. You need to use 3 idioms somehow. Okay? Now, since this is a business writing course, I want you to use at least one of them in an email that you send this week. Okay? One idiom. I'll put this up on the drive tonight, or before I leave today. And in an email, you need to use at least one idiom from all this list. Just one. The other 2, you just got to use somewhere else. Whether it's in writing, whether it's in daily speech. That's not so bad. You have a week. It's not like you need to come back tomorrow. Show me your homework. So in 7 days, 3 idiom uses. Okay? Alright. If you want to write me an email, feel free to write me an email. It doesn't need to be an official one. I'll send it back with a bunch of red marks. Okay? If there's no questions, you're free to go. Alright. I don't know that one. Stuff, F. Is that F? Yeah, stuff, staff. Yeah. Stuff, and then at. Stuff, staff. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stuff, step. Stop.
Alright.
Stop,
Have a good one.
step. Step. Stop.
Ask someone else.
Alright. See you then.
I heard someone say all thumb,
All thumbs. Clumsy.
clumsy.
Yeah, like you're not very coordinated. You know what I mean? You drop stuff all the time. Yeah, all thumbs.
All thumbs. all thumbs. Okay, thank you, sir. See you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
See you.